From the News Channel 5 Network, this is OpenLine.
Hello everyone, welcome to OpenLine. Good show tonight. We are talking about something that communities across the country are considering, are dealing with. We're talking about body cams on police officers. How much will it cost? What is realistic? What's realistic for Nashville? We want to begin that discussion tonight, or at least get you up to date on where that discussion is within Metro. We have with us two people who can help us with that. Very happy to have with us Lonnell Matthews, Director of the Mayor's Office of Neighborhoods and Community Engagement. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And Sean Braisted, who is, of course, the Mayor's spokesperson. Sean, thank you for coming back.
Ben, thank you
for being with us. Also, I want to say we are streaming this live on our News Channel 5 Facebook page. So if you want to comment, you can go to our Facebook page, comment in the comment section. We'll include you in the conversation there. Also, you can call in at the number on the bottom of the screen. But where do we stand now? Talking about body cams for police officers, where do we stand?
So the mayor committed to including body cameras in this year's budget proposal that she's going to send to the Metro Council. She's currently working on the budget proposal and will be announcing the budget at the State of Metro address on April 26th. In preparation for that, we have convened a community advisory group of about 30 community members representing different organizations in the community, different memberships and constituencies, to meet 4 times and talk about the policies that will go into implementing and deploying body cameras in our Metro Nashville Police Department. That group actually had its last meeting on yesterday. We are working on the final draft from the final comments and suggestions that were made at that meeting. We hope to give the group about a week of comment period on that final draft, just to make sure we didn't miss anything, and then we'll release those recommendations of policy to the mayor and the chief, but we'll make those public also so that the public can see what this community advisory group worked on. From there, we're going to have to, once the budget's passed, hopefully the council will keep body cameras in. I think that they passed the resolution and we feel that they're very supportive. July 1st, the funding will be available. We'll have an RFP on the street and we'll try to find the vendor that meets the needs of Nashville. And at that point, it'll be a point of really coming up with a deployment plan of training the officers, making sure the equipment is ready, and start to incrementally deploy the cameras into use.
I think the council passed a resolution saying they wanted to get the process started. Let's get 168 cameras, I think, on the flex officers. So it wouldn't by any means be cameras on every police officer, but they, after the shooting of Jacquees Clemens, wanted to get something going. So they passed this resolution. Mm-hmm. Is that going to happen? Are we going to go piecemeal, or what about that?
No, we want to deploy cameras on every officer in the Metro Nashville Police Department. And so our proposal is to fund and purchase cameras for every officer. Of course, given the council's resolution and our proposal, we still have to go through Metro's purchasing process. And so that is going to take a little while to go through purchasing, to select the vendor, to make sure that that vendor meets our specific needs. They'll help us design the training around the equipment that we actually select. They'll help us to initiate and offer the training to the officers. And once the officers are trained, that's when we'll start to deploy the equipment.
And one of the reasons why we didn't want to do something piecemeal and right out of the box is because, number one, we wanted to develop a policy first, because really that's the big issue, and that's been some of the sticking points you've seen in other cities. When to release the data, when to record the video, how do you protect the civil liberties of people being recorded, and so there's a lot of issues that have been worked out over the last month regarding that. And the chief said at his budget hearing that he's looking at probably rolling this out precinct by precinct instead of waiting for all of them to be equipped at once. So there will be sort of a phase-in period in order to start getting the process moving, and there might be a testing period when we put out the RFI to find more people that can tell us what their services are and see which one fits Nashville's needs.
At one point, the chief put out an estimated budget of $50 million.
Right.
Is that What do you think of that? $50 million.
So that, that's sort of the Cadillac plan, and what the chief put together was a proposal that would be the city of Nashville buying everything on the front end and owning all of the equipment. There are some other cities that have adopted a subscription model offered by some of the companies, and they've seen a lot lower costs. Some examples being Charlotte, they have about 1,456 camera users, and it was around $5 million over a 5-year period. So there are ways to reduce the costs. I mean, ultimately we want to get the equipment that fits the needs of Nashville, and that's what the procurement process will designate. Cost is a factor, but also qualifications and making sure that you have the right thing to meet the needs. But and there was actually a news article today, one of the top manufacturers of these Taser, which is rebranded as Axon, said that they're looking at possibly giving out cameras for free to all the police departments for a 1-year period of testing. So we're looking into that as as a possible proposal, but ultimately, one of the limitations we have is as a metro body, we can't just pick someone and say we're going to give you our money. We have to go through a legitimate procurement process that's fair and equitable to all the people that might want to participate.
But we do want to be as fiscally responsible as we can with taxpayers' dollars.
Right.
And so we are going to try to meet the need. Well, we're going to meet the needs of Nashville, but we're going to do that in a way that is not going to have any frivolous costs.
Right.
When do you think all police officers will have a body camera on them? When's the soonest that could happen? They're walking around that. We have a system in place, and they have body cameras.
So it really depends on the response to the RFI and the RFP. So a request for information is going to really give us an idea of what type of equipment is out there. It's going to give us the ability to test some of the equipment to see what equipment we think is best for the needs that we have as a city. And once we know what type of equipment we want, we really draw up the requirements in the request for a proposal to meet those needs. And as soon as we could select a vendor, the sooner we get the cameras on our officers. But the real timeline is once that vendor is selected. And so, like any purchasing process, that's when the timeline begins. I would say once that vendor is selected, we're probably looking at anywhere from 6 to 9 months before training is completed and officers we start deploying.
So a year out, probably.
Potentially, but it really depends on how quick we select the vendor. Cheryl
Woodard asks on Facebook, is the funding already there?
No, so the mayor is right now going through, she heard from all of the departments and agencies with their budget requests, and what's going to happen is the mayor's going to present an operating budget at the end of April when she delivers her State of Metro address. So there are some operating dollars, which means, human personnel that are involved, and there's also a capital requirement in which the capital spending plan will probably come out sometime in May when the capital improvement budget is released. So there's a bit of a process involved in this, but in terms of as a priority, the mayor has identified back in October of last year that this is something that she intends to do, and she's committed to doing that, and that's why we've gone through this process of designing the policies and looking at how we can procure this equipment to meet the needs of Nashville.
So Lucy Key says on Facebook, they need them, protects them as well as the public. So you've had several meetings. Are there people that are opposed to this? Who is against it?
Well, so they just did a Vanderbilt poll, and it showed about 95% of the public supports body cameras, so there's 5% that don't. So there are some. I mean, there are some people that think that it's not the end-all solution, which is true. The mayor has said all along that this is one tool. This is not going to fix any and all problems, but it will give the public a better sense of sort of trust and openness and transparency in how the police department operates. We have a large amount of confidence in our police force, as does the majority of Nashville, but this is one tool that will help people have even more trust.
What is your sense from the police department? How much do they want body cameras?
So the Fraternal Order of Police, the Black Police Officer Association, they both were represented on our community advisory group, and they're very supportive. They think that cameras not only allow the public to see some of the interactions that the community has with police, but it gives the police an opportunity to show the work that they're doing in the community. And so they're very proud of the work that they do as police officers in our community, and they welcome the opportunity for people to see that.
And they've seen in some other cities too that there's a significant decrease in some of the complaints against officers when people know. Some will say that's because the officers are more thoughtful about what they're doing on some situations, but also that there might be people lodging complaints that don't have basis. So hopefully that'll weed out some of those, and it'll give them more time to investigate the true cases that are out there.
All right, so we're going to take a break. If you want to call in, there's the number, 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. We're also looking at comments here on Facebook. I have to put on my glasses to do that. But to do that, let's see. Jessica Brooks says you can drag out the vendor selection process forever. So well, we can talk about that. How long? You know, let's talk more about that when we come back. But give us a call, comment on Facebook, take a break, be back right after this.